What's up, ShineOn? Jim Carmella here, coming at you with this rendition of Shot of Espresso. It's a very special one because it's the first in a series that I'm putting together about a live case study of the farming method. So that we've been talking, or at least I've been talking about. I know you're getting a lot of great content from Zappy around TikTok, and you'll continue to do so. And so I want to dive into kind of the nuts and bolts of what the farming method looks like for us on Facebook. So for the last several guides, we've kind of been talking in and around how do you test, how do you scale, and it's all from the crux or the centerpiece of the farming method. So in this new series, what I wanted to do is instead of talking about theory or what's worked in the past, I want to show you live. Now, because it's live, and I keep putting air quotes here because it's you're going to see it like I'm going to run stuff for a week. I'll put that into a guide, and then we'll shoot a recap video of it. Um, but I don't know what the results are going to be. This isn't guaranteed because nothing in media buying is guaranteed. Nothing we do is guaranteed, right? So whether this particular case study proves profitable or unprofitable, we're going to learn a lot from it, and you'll actually get to see me work the problem. I do not expect for this to be something that I start up and then it's an instant success and we make tens of thousands of dollars a day in sales. It's a process, right? So it takes a lot of I don't want to say courage because it doesn't take a lot of courage, but it takes some real transparency to say, look, I'm expecting to launch all this stuff and I'm expecting to fail, at least in the beginning. And then we'll work through the problem together, and I'll show you what I do to really evaluate a campaign, whether it's successful out of the gate, or whether it needs work, or whether it just needs to be adapted. And that goes through the whole funnel, whether that's just the design itself, the ads that we're using, or the product funnel. So you're going to see pretty much everything I do. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first step, the first stage of this case study, if you will, is all about getting your tools ready, right? It's all about that prep work, the design work, the nuts and bolts. And this is where most people like put together everything really fast. And then they try to figure out how to get ads to work or Etsy or some other sales channel. And they don't put a lot of time into this step. And I'm doing this as an isolated step because realistically, this is where the majority of your effort and time should start and be, and where most of your adjustments to take a losing or break even um, campaign and turn that into a profitable campaign is going to come from. So it's these steps. This is what's most important. Okay, this is what you're most in direct control over, and this is what will determine whether or not you're really successful as a long-term campaign. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. As always, I am not going to uh, summarize or read through this whole guide word for word. I will highlight things. I will add commentary that comes to my mind based off of it. But this is not going to be me reading aloud to you. If you want the full guide, follow the link above and feel free to download it. It's free. So let's see, step one, remainder of this quarter. Yep, that's just what I talked about. All right, so the design. The design, and really part of the design, meaning the phrase, is something that is going to be the sole determining factor, or the majority determining factor of whether or not you will be profitable on a campaign. Getting the right words in front of the right people to get the right emotional response is going to determine if you have a winning, profitable campaign or you don't. And now there are other elements that go into that, and there are best practices, and then there are certain times of the year that I will deviate from best practices. So I will summarize below, or in this, that what the best practices are. And we've talked about, if you've seen any of the Coffee with Michaels where we do design breakdowns, we give feedback and critique people's designs and their backgrounds. All of that is very, very valid. We follow that same formula time and again. What we're seeing is simple, solid, or not necessarily solid, but like subtle changes in the background design. And by that, I mean you want something like a white to light gray background design, a black, dark gray background, blue, like a solid color that allows for some nice contrast. The question you want to ask yourselves after you do a design or you have someone work up a design for you is, does this add to or take away from the perceived value of the necklace? And if the answer is it takes away from it, it looks kind of hokey, makes it kind of look cheaper, childish. If any of those phrases or answers are coming up when you ask yourselves that question, it probably needs to be reworked. Okay? You want to add the background design needs to add to the perceived value, the exclusivity, the classiness. You're selling a piece of jewelry. You're selling it for somewhere but probably between $40 and $100 because that's when we see our front end costs. And for this particular product, I believe I'm going to start with 59 as the two-tone box and 79 for the mahogany box. So I'm asking a pretty penny for this product, right? So I need the whole package to look high quality, to look classy, to justify that price. All right, so without further ado, what I've settled on is taking a old phrase that worked years ago. It's got the same core elements. There's nothing like jaw-dropping, eye-popping, opening, or whatever brand new, innovative phrase. So I went with kind of a tried and true phrase, and I've sort of dressed up the backing. This is specifically designed for a Christmas present. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is the design I'll be running. Before you do any further, before you pause this video to go steal this design, please don't. Okay, it does you no good. I'm going to be ahead of you on this. Ads are already running on this design. I will be hopefully at volume at this design before you ever get it back from the designer. Taking someone's design, ripping it off, and making an identical copy to it is not going to do you any good. And then you're not going to have any kind of success. And then you're going to blame ShineOn products or Jim's Guide or something else. When the reality is you were very lazy and you didn't do anything on your own. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you can't use elements from my phrase. I'm not saying you can't use the background design. Use elements from it. Model after it. Do not carbon copy it because I will beat you. I will. I'm sorry. My ads, my advertising platform, my funnel will beat yours. It just will. If for no other reason, not saying I'm a better media buyer than you are, I'm first to market. First to market always gets the lion's share, okay, with this particular design. So take the phrase, spin it, take parts of it out. Never forget that I love you. Okay, great. Where can I put that in my own phrase? If I had to choose between loving you and breathing, I would use my last breath to say I love you. That is not a unique phrase, okay? That is not something I came up with. That is something that has sold. That segment of the phrase has sold tens of thousands of message cards. Just remember that no matter how near or far apart we are, I am always right there in your heart. Same thing. So I took phrase segments from past winners and I put them together. You've heard Michael talk about this many times about frankenphrasing it, okay? And then the only unique line of this entire phrase that I specifically wrote was Merry Christmas, baby girl. It's not jaw-dropping. It's very plain, okay? It's direct. You'll see that if this was not designed as a Christmas present and I was going to run this any other time of the year, all I would do to differentiate this is I would remove the gold snowflakes. And that's it. Black background, gold lettering. I like black and darker backgrounds because it really makes the jewelry contrast and pop off of it. So does that mean white backgrounds don't work? No, they work great. Okay, it's just my personal preference. I like the sharp contrast between a black background and the silver necklaces. Okay, I chose gold as the text color here because it adds to me, it adds to perceived value, and it works really, really well with the gold snowflakes. Will this design work? Not a clue. We're going to find out. We're going to put it to the test. We're going to plant some seeds and we're going to see what comes up, see if there's any seedlings that sprout. Okay, so that is my thoughts on this. I will say on a note that whatever designs you're doing right now, especially for Q4 and really at all times, you want to take the mahogany box and use it. I just added a couple of new products to our store, and I just saw that we just added our new render system. So it's got a ton of UGC-based pictures already for the mahogany box. Start playing around with those. But this is a 20, like if you price it correctly, it's $10 extra COGS to you. But if you price it at $20 more, that's an extra $10 in profit to you. Or look at it another way, it's a $10 extra more in ad spend you can get to the break even point. Okay? If you advertise this mahogany box and not the two-tone box, even if it's in images over videos, you're still going to get more take rate on this mahogany box. And it's a free extra $10 for you. So I would highly cannot recommend it enough that your advertising center around using the mahogany box. Okay, so we talked about the background and all this stuff. Solid black works, so go through there. Pricing. Now, the pricing is yours to choose. We have products right now that are running at $39.95 as a two-tone and $59.95 as a luxury box. If you want to do a lot of volume, do this. But you have to be, it's obviously your margins are not going to be near as high as 59 and 95 and 79. For the product that we're at scale on this one, we're at the interlocking hearts necklace. So the interlocking hearts necklace is great. It's very popular, works very well for a few different niches like granddaughter and daughter. And then you could do soul sisters would probably do really well with that as well. It's that whole, interlinking hearts last forever type of thing. In any case, the perceived value of that necklace, in my personal opinion, and only my personal opinion, is that it's not as high as the love knot. And that's because you don't see the cubic zirconia. It's not as prevalent as you can see. Obviously, it's a big cubic zirconia with little ones around. In the interlocking hearts, they do have, it's lined with cubic zirconia all the way around, but you can't really see it in the pictures as well. You don't have a big center stone. So to me, that necklace works better at $39.95 and $59.95 versus the $59 of the two-tone and $79 for luxury box. So realistically, it says right here, you may also opt for the higher pricing. If you're selling Love Knot, I would start here. Does that mean that if my add to cart rate is terrible, but my click-through rate on my ads are good, I'm just stuck and I'll turn it off? No. If that's the case, then I'll lower the price down to $39.95 on the front end and $59 for the two boxes, and we'll see what happens. That right there could lower our CPA enough to make us profitable. We don't know until we run traffic. So I tend to start with my prices higher, see what data happens, see what my add to cart rate is, and then lower if necessary. Otherwise, I keep it high. Okay. All right. So that is pricing. Now on the cart page, I did recently add, now I run a Shopify install for most of this case study specifically will be on Shopify. And I am going to add that package protection on the cart page. So I do recommend that. In our CRO testings, it has not shown any kind of major detraction to conversion rate. In fact, it's actually showed that it's helped conversion rate. And obviously it helps for your revenue. Imagine making $1.50 for every single sale for doing nothing, just having it on there. Okay, so if you're going to do, also I will say that if you're going to run this cheaper price point, the $39.95 front, and that you need to add shipping. And realistically, it's Christmas time. I would add shipping to everything. So for this case study, I am going to charge $5.95 shipping for this particular product. Okay. We will see if that works or not. Again, start high prices and then cut and move and adjust as we go. Okay, so we'll run that. So I'm going to run this at $5.95 shipping, even with the higher prices. And it's an absolute must that you have it for the lower prices. I'm just going to throw that out there. Make sure you add package protection onto your cart page, and you can do that by going to our app and selecting the create new experience, and then go to that product and upsells, and then scroll down to the on cart add-ons and turning this on to this particular product. So this is designated by each particular product. Okay. All right. Then our upsell sequence. So we use OCU for our upsells. I use it across the board. I love it. Well, I don't love it, but it's the best that we have. There are more robust systems out there if you're not using Shopify. But if you're using Shopify, then obviously I do recommend using OCU. For this sequence, we're going to try some new things. I have our brand new Love Knot stud earrings to give it a shot and see how they convert well. We may end up trying to push these to I know it's an ad an on-page add-on. Um, and so that's where you could put these as well. And then you can add, if you're going to do it that way, I would go from, depending on what your system is, this is our daughter sequence. So our front end product is daughter. So our back end system will be wife or soulmates, one of those two, like wife soulmate. And I do that. I throw the wife because in a lot of cases, obviously, if you have a daughter, you probably have a wife. But there are 50% of Americans who have been divorced. So they may not have a wife, but they may have a girlfriend. So you may want to split test a wife product with a soulmate slash girlfriend product to see which one works the best. And then your downsell offer, I would run to a son. Because oftentimes, if you have a daughter, there's a good chance you have a son. So you'll choose your son offer as well. Now, this is a brand new setup that I'm going to test. It's where OCU just recently added this option about a month ago, I think, and I haven't split tested it yet. So I figure it's a case study. We might as well case study it. And what this does is it says it actually inputs three different products onto one offer page. So if they go here, if a customer goes here and whether they turn it down or they take it, they will see this second upsell page to where they have three different choices that they can choose from and say, do you want a wife product? Do you want a son product? And then I think this last one is a granddaughter that I chose. So again, it's totally up to you on what funnel. Our normal funnel flow for daughter would be wife. I would split test wife and then soulmate girlfriend and then son. And this I would have the exact same product, whatever that is, whatever son, whether that's a cross or whatever, or a dog tag, something. If you have like a store that's got sales on it, I would sell something to a son. If you're not in the daughter niche, which we shouldn't all be in the same niche, right? Let's say you're going soulmate or wife. Let's say you sell the front end product is to wife. Then I would have daughter, son, or son, daughter, right? However you want to do it, or split test son, daughter, right? And see which one works the best. In addition to that, if you had granddaughter, then I would go, if granddaughter, most of the time grandmas or grandmothers are purchasing for granddaughters, believe it or not, then I would also do grandson as my upsell one, and then probably daughter. Okay, so there's a decent chance that they have a daughter or a son that gave them their grandkids, right? So you could split test that to see what works best in your funnel. So if you're selling a granddaughter or a grandson, do the opposite of what you're selling here. So if it's granddaughter, do grandson. If it's grandson as your front end, do granddaughter. And then split test son, daughter products here to see what your funnel is going to respond to the best. Let's see, what's another niche? So soulmate, if you have soulmate, you could try, if you have a different product, try a different product in there. Soulmate's a little bit hard because I don't know if I would try it and see if it's soulmate, and then I would do son, daughter, or son, daughter, and then grandson, granddaughter. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that your upsell sequence, you want to split test, you want to have it first of all, and then you want to split test it too. You don't want to you want to fill it all out. So whatever your downsell is, copy that over. If you create the downsell first, there'll be a button here that says choose product, and then a little pop-up will come up and it'll say copy offer, and then you would just select this downsell offer. You want to have the same offer here, and the reason being is the way that OCU does it is they'll see this first. If they say no, they'll see the downsell offer. If they say no to the downsell offer, they'll go to thank you page. If they say yes, so whatever they say here, yes or no from the downsell, they go to the thank you page. If they say yes to this upsell, then they get to upsell too. And then so you want to have the same offer here and here. Okay. What else? Play around with it, test it out. Like if you are brand new to this, do 3 products. Your top of funnel, the front end one you're going to run ads to, and then 2 congruent ones in other niches. And then if you see like if one of the upsells is taken off or has a really high take rate, try that top of funnel, try that on your ads, and then just rotate the third product of the top of funnel product into your upsell sequence. Does that make sense? So you're buying data, and then we're selling stuff, and then if we're break even, or even if we're doing really well on the front end, and we're doing incredibly well on the take rate on the back end, take the back end products and test those, put those in its own farming method. Okay. All right. So that is our funnel. So I want to make this perfectly clear that this is my beginning of everything. My beginning phrase, my beginning design, my beginning price, my beginning cart, and my beginning upsell funnel. All are and probably will be changed at some point. Okay. I think where a lot of people get tripped up in this game is that they design a product and they put it on their store or in the platform, and then they run traffic to it, and it doesn't make them a bajillion dollars or profitable sales out the gate, and they're like, oh, doesn't work. I just wasted my money. And that's not it. That's not what this is all about. This is about having a good idea, creating a good product, creating good marketing around that product, and then creating a sales funnel for that product. We've already CRO'd and we continue to CRO our product pages to make sure they convert really well for you guys. You're in control of your cart. You're in control of your upsell sequence. And if you don't have OCU or any upsell sequence, you're giving up like a super high amount of AOV. Right now, we add anywhere from $4 to $6 per order because of our upsell sequence. Our advertisements always focus on the mahogany box, which is a $20 extra revenue per order that is taken. We're at like a 70+% take rate on the mahogany box. If yours isn't that high, your advertisement is probably not illustrating or featuring the mahogany box very much. I would change that. It works well on images. Try it with images. You don't need a video. I love video. I'm always going to be a video guy. But I am going to always split test image and video to see what gets me the best results. Okay? All right. What else? Final thoughts. That's it. This is step one. Now, it's easy for me to sit here and summarize, but mind you, it takes several hours worth of work to set all this stuff up, especially if you've never done it before, and that's okay. Making tons of money should require work and effort, right? Like if you hired a Fiverr person and they created a design for $5 and then you stick it up on ads and it doesn't work after day one and you spend $100 and you're just going to quit, think about that the rest of your life, right? Like whether, let's say you went to college and you spent 4 years going to college to try to get a degree and learn and then go to a job. Obviously you want extra income because you're here. You invested a lot of time and a lot of money to try to make that work. If you go and let's try to go buy a McDonald's franchise, that's like $1.4 million just to do the franchisee fee before anything else. So you need to put time in. You need to figure out what you're really willing to invest. And I need you to focus. No shiny objects, no 1,400 different phrases. Work the funnel, work your ads, and make adjustments to data. And that's what we're going to do over the next several weeks. So I'm super excited for this case study. I'm a little nervous because, you're putting yourself out there like I'm supposed to be the expert, right? And I've got a lot of experience and a lot of money spent and a lot of money made doing this stuff. But I have just the same amount of likelihood of finding a successful product than you do. The only reason that I am more profitable than you on an average base year over year over year is that I work my campaigns until they're profitable or until it's god awful. So if our CTRs out the gate, our click-through rates, or if they're terrible, that means my targeting, my ads, or my phrase is not right. And we're going to find that out. So stay tuned for the next couple of weeks, and 2 weeks from now, we'll get our first follow-up. You'll have planted seed data, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys found this helpful and are excited, just as excited as I am to see this case study come to fruition and come to life, and really see what we do in near real time / live. I'm always going to do the air quotes, I guess, as live as I can make it without, having you guys have a live stream to my ads manager. We'll walk you through all the stuff, and at the very least, even if this turns out to be a completely losing campaign and we've lost money, we'll learn an awful lot together. So there's a lot to learn in our failures, and that's the way you got to frame it. Media buying is failing until you succeed. Okay, you have to embrace the failure. And it's frustrating, I know, but it's what it is. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Stay shiny out there.